Welcome to all in this lecture number 23 of Module 3, that is Program for Ensuring Health. If you remember, in the last lecture we talked about the health, what is the role of the self for ensuring health. So in last lecture we talked about the coexistence of the self and body, their needs, their activities, and we understood that the need of the self is continuous in time and need of the body is temporary in time. Then we talked about the feeling of self-regulation which is required for ensuring health. And then we talked about specifically health in the last lecture. So in this lecture, we are going to study the programs which are required for ensuring the health of our body. So let's move. So for ensuring this program for body, some understanding about the body in the self is required. So as we discussed in the last chapter, that the whole body is a self-organized unit. The whole body is naturally in harmony. In fact, not the whole body, each and every cell of the body, each and every organ of the body is working as a self-organized unit and are in harmony, in complementarity to each other. So each and every part, each and every organ of the body is working for ensuring the harmony of the whole body. So once the self has right understanding in itself, then the self is able to see this harmony in the body. Then the self has responsibility to ensure the continuity of this harmony. So with the right understanding in the self, with the understanding that the body is an instrument, the self has the feeling of responsibility for ensuring the health of the body in continuity, or at least self should take responsibility to not disturb the harmony which is naturally exist in the body. So if the self has enough right understanding, if the self has this feeling, then self is able to ensure the continuity of the health in the body. The self has a feeling of responsibility towards the body. So with the feeling of this responsibility, the self knows what is required for fulfilling that responsibility to ensure the health in the body. So with this feeling of responsibility which comes with right understanding, right feeling, with the knowledge of self and body, with exploration, the self is able to feel this responsibility towards the body. If the self has this understanding towards the body, then body becomes healthy. So feeling of responsibility is required. Feeling of self-regulation is required for the body to keep it healthy. With this, we can discuss about programs which actually keeps our body healthy. So let's see. So these are the programs which are required to keep our body healthy. So first is intake and daily routine. So proper discrimination of intake, what is required for the healthy body is required. So intake and daily routine is an important part to keep our body healthy. So we will discuss it in coming slides. In this slide, I am just giving an overview of the whole program, and in coming slide, we will discuss it one by one. Then labor and exercise. So first priority is intake should be good. Then our lifestyle, daily routine should match with nature cycle. Then labor and exercise is required, and in fact labor is required to keep our body healthy. Then when we are not doing any labor, we can think of right postures which regulates internal and external body organs and regulated breath. Then for bringing the harmony of body back from temporary disharmony, medicines is required. And last, dependency of drug or machine to perform proper body functions is required. So if you see, this is the last option. So if the self has right understanding, if the self has feeling of self-regulation, then the self will take it as a last responsibility, last option in the life. So with good and right understanding, the self will take care of intake, will take care of its daily routine, daily lifestyle. So the dependency on drugs or machine is the last option. So if you see the present state of the society, somehow it has become a part of our daily life that we have become so dependent on medicines, drugs. In fact, we are preparing not to get any diseased. We are not preparing ourselves for a healthy body. If we keep the healthy body in the priority, then we will follow up this priority order. So first is intake and daily routine, then labor and exercise, then posture. Then to cure any disharmony, medicines are required, and this is the last option. So you can take pause for 2 minutes, ask yourself, what priority order are you following in your life? You are aware about intake and daily routine, labor, exercise, or you are dependent on this drugs, medicines, machines, etc. So this you have to explore. So let's explore one by one. First we are going to discuss about intake. So when we talk about intake includes all that we absorb through all the senses, all the body organs like air, water, sunlight, food, etc. So intake includes all the things that we absorb through all the senses. Intake is not only about the food or water. Intake is about all the things which the body absorbs through its environment, like air, water, sunlight, etc. So also thoughts in response to outside events and circumstances is also required. So when we are taking food, when we are absorbing these things, our thoughts also impacts our body. So for a healthy body, it is important to keep our thoughts in harmony. So to maintain health, what is required? Fiber rich food that is nutritious, digestible, tasty, and digested wasted is excretable. So it is very important thing to be noted. If we take care only the intake, while taking food, if we are aware about our food only, then most of the problem of the body get resolved. So when we are intaking the food, we should take care the food is fiber rich or not. It should be nutritious. It should be digestible. And it should be excretable. It is very first important step while taking food. So ask yourself, you can observe your food and evaluate your food whether it is fiber rich or not, nutritious or not, it is digestible, it is excretable or not. You can make a list of your food and evaluate that. If the food is fiber rich, then it helps in digestion, and it is also easily excretable. If the food is not fiber rich food, then the excretion becomes difficult and it creates a lot of diseases in the body. So awareness of the other intake through our senses, especially while eating, that is being aware of how much to eat, it is an again important point. When you take food, when you are choosing your food, are you aware how much you have to eat? So if you pay a little attention on the stomach while taking your food, you get enough signal from the body that tells you about the quantity. But if you are indulged somewhere else while taking food, watching mobile, indulge in television, indulge in talking, so you are not able to receive the signals from the body, and many times you overeat. Many times you are not able to sense whether our stomach is full or not. So this awareness is very important. Otherwise, overeating may create many problems in your body. So, like fat is one of those problems. If you are overeating, fat becomes part of your life. So with awareness of this quantity of food, choice of food is also important. So if you are aware, you will take care the food, number one. Number two, about the quantity, how much you have to eat. This you have to assess, and it can be done only if you are aware while taking your food, rather than watching TV, arguing with others while eating. So if you observe around yourself, many people get involved in watching TV, in watching mobile while taking food. So what happens if we indulge in this kind of activity while taking food? So the signals we get from our body that our stomach is full is not received by the cell, because cell is engaged somewhere else. So taking food with awareness is also an important event. Then daily exposure to fresh air and sunlight and so on. So it is also important that we should get fresh air, we should get enough sunlight. All these are intake for our body. So if we are in a house that is closed from everywhere, there is no provision of sunlight, no provision of fresh air, then our body gets diseased. So to maintain health, it should be taken care that our structure of home should be such that so that fresh air and sunlight come in our house. So let's sum up this whole slide. So we are talking about intake. So intake includes all the things we absorb, our body absorb through the senses, through our body organs. So when we are talking about intake, we are not only talking about the food, we are talking about air, water, sunlight, along with food, etc. So to maintain health, one important point is we should take care while choosing our food, whether it is fiber rich or not. It should be nutritious, it should be tasty, it should be digestible, it should be easily excretable. If we take care this intake, many of the problems of the body get resolved. So if we take care of this food, then it helps to keep our body in harmony. Then awareness of other intake through our senses. And another important point is we should take care of we should pay our attention towards the body when taking food. We should not get indulged in watching TV, arguing with others while taking food. And along with this, daily exposure to fresh air and sunlight is also required. So let's move towards the daily routine. So here it is circadian rhythm. It is a cycle which is in harmony with nature. If we follow this cycle, our body becomes healthy. Our body be in state of health. So if you see around 6 a.m. So 4 to 6 we should wake up, and this 6 to 10 there is a timing of breakfast. So in the presence of sunlight we should take our breakfast, and before the sunrise we should get off our bed. So with this we can see that between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. there is a strong Agni arises in our body. It means our body is ready to digest, to absorb the food. So the lunch time should be around 12 p.m. 12 to 1 p.m. If we follow this schedule, the body is in a state of absorbing the food. The food is digested in this time period easily. Then 2 to 6 p.m. time is for absorptions and assimilation. So during this period of time, body absorbs the nutrients, all the required things from the food. And then 6 to 10 p.m. So 6 to 8 p.m. there is a dinner time, and then 10 p.m. is around 10 p.m. there is a bed time. And after this 10 a.m. we can have a deep sleep, and after 12 a.m. the liver gets activated and it detox the whole body and repair the whole body, repair the cells, damaged cells, etc. So this is how the whole circadian rhythm works. So for keeping our body healthy, we should follow this circadian rhythm. And now you can take pause for 2 minutes and ask yourself whether you are following this cycle or not. So there is a relation of sun, earth with our body. So this is how our body works with the sunlight. So if we follow this cycle, our body gets healthy. So this is about our lifestyle. So if we follow this lifestyle, if we follow this cycle, so our body naturally gets healthy. So you can evaluate your lifestyle, whether your lifestyle matches with this cycle or not. Then is labor. So when do labor with rest of nature, it ensures sufficient movement of the body. Plus it also produces some protection through physical facility. So labor is also an important part of daily routine. So if we interact with nature, if we work with nature, we do labor. So first, the required movement naturally happens during the process of labor, and in return we get some physical facility, that is protection. So we have to take care whether we are doing enough labor in our life or not. So labor should be a integral part of our daily life. So in fact, at home you can find out many ways to ensure this labor from your side. For example, sweeping and dusting your room, house, hostel. It ensures your movement of the body. Then you can use cycling if your college is nearby. So if you use cycle for traveling, then your body gets enough movement. Then you may invest your time in kitchen gardening. You can interact with nature. You can plant some vegetables. So in this manner, you will ensure labor and you will also get some physical facility in return. Similarly, producing things of our daily use, which may include grain, milk, biscuits, etc. So all these things can be done easily in your house. So again, you take pause for 2 minutes and see what can you do around your house. Find out the ways to ensure labor on the daily basis. Make a list and evaluate what can you do easily in the form of labor. So if you include all these things or some of these things according to your convenience, it will ensure labor, which is actually required for a healthy body. Then exercise, postures and breathing. So exercise basically ensure adequate movement of the body. So for example, you do jogging, cycling in fresh air. All these things is required to ensure adequate movements of the body. And for regulating internal and external body organs, there is a need for proper postures. So for example, yogasana. You may do yoga where you can keep your body in the right postures so that the harmony between internal and external body becomes smooth. All these things can be ensured in-house. Similarly, regulated breathing ensure fresh oxygen in every part of the body. So you can do pranayama. So with the help of pranayama, you can ensure fresh oxygen in every part of your body. So along with this intake and daily life, we should include this in our lifestyle. So exercise, posture, regulated breathing, all these things are required for a healthy life. So if your breath is good, it means the oxygen is reached each and every part of the body, which helps the body in functioning in a proper manner. So breathing is required. For that, you may make a program like pranayama. Similarly, right postures are required. When you sit, when you stand, what is your posture? It matters for the health of the body. When you eat, in what postures you are eating your food, it is required. When you are drinking water, what is your postures? All these things should be known to us for a healthy life. So if you are following, if you are including all this in your daily routine, it helps you to keep your body healthy. Then the medicine. So if anyhow your body is not in harmony temporarily, then to bring out that harmony back from temporary disharmony, you can take medicine. In fact, many of the home remedies are available, which may help you to move from temporary disharmony to harmony. So you should be aware what kind of home remedies are available, how home remedies are helpful to keep our body healthy. All this knowledge is also required. Then last is treatment. So if our body is not healthy, then the last options are this: insulin, dialysis, etc. But if we ensure this intake, daily routine, labor, exercise in our daily life, in lifestyle, then there is very less need to depend on this treatment. That's why the correct priority order of this program for ensuring health is required. So if I reevaluate the whole program, it can be said that first is the intake. We should be aware when we take food, when we choose food for our body. In fact, not only the food, about air, about water, whatever is being absorbed by the body, we should aware of that. If we are aware at the level of intake, so there is a very less possibility that we go for all this treatment. So intake and daily routine may solve most of the health problems. So good intake and daily routine will ensure the health of your body, and there is very less possibility to get dependent on this medicine or machine, etc. So this is first priority, intake and daily routine. Then we should include labor in our lifestyle, then exercise. So if we take care of this point number 1 and point number 2, this is enough for keeping our body healthy. Then the postures. So again, everyone should get knowledge of the postures, what are the right postures required for the healthy body. So each and everyone should get this kind of education, where education about intake, daily routine, labor, exercise, postures should be given to each and every student. If we ensure these in our education system, then day by day there will be improvement in the body of students, health of the student. So in the absence of this kind of education, most of member of our society have dependent on this medicine and treatment, which is actually now a part of our lifestyle. So we have to move from this to this. So let's sum up the whole thing. So we are talking about the program for fulfillment of the health of the body. So number 1, feeling of self-regulation is required in the self. It is very important because all these programs can be made with the feeling of self-regulation. If there is no feeling of self-regulation, then it becomes very difficult to keep our body healthy. That's why the feeling of self-regulation is required at the level of self. So if there is a right understanding, right feeling in the self, there is a feeling of coexistence of the self and body, then self is able to ensure this feeling of self-regulation, which is actually helpful to ensure health of the body. So with this feeling of self-regulation, the right programs are intake, daily routine. So with the feeling of self-regulation, the self gets aware about the intake, then daily routine, then self ensure labor, exercise, and then balancing internal and external organ through pranayama, breathing. Then last is medicine and treatment. And when we are talking about medicine, we should go for home remedies first. So with the feeling of self-regulation in the self, all these programs can be made. The self and the body are in harmony when there is a feeling of self-regulation in the self and health in the body. So as an individual, we become in harmony if there is a feeling of self-regulation in the self and there is a health in the body. So self-regulation, as we talked about, feeling of responsibility towards the body for nurturing, protection and right utilization of the body. So when the self knows that the body is an instrument, I am doer, seer, enjoyer, then self has a feeling of responsibility for nurturing, protection and right utilization of the body. So if the feeling of self-regulation is in the self, then the body acts according to the self and all parts of the body are in harmony. So outcome is health. Thank you very much. That's all from my side. So in this lecture, we discussed about the program for ensuring health. In next lecture, we will talk about the policies about the health, policies and system about the health. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much. Let's meet in the next lecture. Have a great day. Thank you very much.